Ooh, got a little excited.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the homestead. I hope that you're having a blessed day today and that you enjoyed our last week's Q&A video. Speaking of which, we actually got a comment from Caroline asking us a good few gardening questions. So instead of answering those questions in last week's Q&A video, we decided to make a whole new video and share some gardening stuff with you all today. So I hope you enjoy that. Alrighty, let's get to it. Thank you for helping get the soil, Jay.
You're welcome.
All right, so one of Carolyn's first questions was in relation to where to purchase good soil. She's in an area where she has a lot of red clay, and I think she's wanting to do some raised beds similar to what we're doing. So unfortunately, I haven't really found a good source to purchase for soil. We did do that once from Home Depot. We got the Kellogg brand, and it just did not do well for us. So we've been building compost for years now on our homestead. I think that's a fantastic thing for every gardener to do, even if it's just small scale, is to build your own compost. It's a very simple thing to do. You can research that. It doesn't have to be complicated. But just getting started, I would highly recommend seeing if there's someone locally in your area that raises horses or cows or goats or sheep and would like you to maybe come and clean out their barn or something like that, so you can kind of make it worth it for them. Or maybe they just have piles of extra compost. That was the case for us. We found someone with horses that raised them organically and just had piles and piles of aged compost. And so that's how we got started, is just free compost from a local friend. So I think that's a great way to do it. And so then what we do with the compost, we don't put that straight into the garden beds. That would take a ton of compost. We actually mix it with two other items. So today we're actually doing that right now. We're getting some of our brassica beds topped off and ready to plant. So we've got a wagon here with some of our homemade compost. And we're going to be adding in some peat moss and some vermiculite, as well as right now we have some C90 and kelp that we're going to be mixing all together with that. It helps stretch the compost a little bit, and peat moss and vermiculite are not super expensive. Vermiculite, you can even find that it's often found at like feed stores, horticultural, very hard to say that word apparently, vermiculite, and it's very inexpensive. Ours we just got at Menards, so it's a little more expensive than the peat moss, so we use that a little bit less. And the ratio just kind of depends on what you're going to be growing. Brassicas like a lot of compost, so we're going to add not quite as much of the peat moss and the vermiculite, but other things that don't need as much compost, we'll add them equal parts by volume. So the same amount of compost, peat moss, and vermiculite by volume. Good job. C90 and organic kelp granules. So we have some extra land and extra sea minerals going into the garden. Alright guys, it's actually a new day. I often think of things to share after the fact, so I realize that when it comes to filling up new garden beds, a lot of you may not have access to your own compost or live in an area where you can get compost from other people who have animals. So I wish I had more to recommend that you could just get at a store somewhere, but I don't have a lot of experience with that. So if you could leave in the comments below, any of you who have a really good source of high quality but inexpensive soil that you can get from a store somewhere, please leave that in the comments below. I think the big thing to remember is if you want to grow organically, it needs to have the OMRI certification. And that makes sure that you're getting high quality and nothing yucky in your soil. I did just see at a friend's house yesterday that Costco has available right now OMRI listed organic soil for grow beds and pots and things at a really good price. So if you have a Costco near you, that might be an option. If any of you have used the Costco soil, I think it's Miracle Grow, but it's listed for organic use. Please leave a comment, let us know if that worked for you. So yeah, I hope some people will share in the comments below if they have good experience with a particular soil that's not too expensive and high quality still.
And if the beds are more than 6 inches high, we do put some topsoil in the bottom first. And if the beds are really deep, then we'll actually put some rotting logs or sticks in the bottom, even below the topsoil. But if you do that, you do have to keep in mind that the soil will sink down as the wood breaks down.
Good job.
Thank you, Abby, for helping out.
Yep.
And Caroline also asked about cost-effective garden beds, which if you're in an area with sawmills, you might be able to get some like railroad ties or something like that for free actually from them. We were able to find some for us here, but something you want to keep in mind with those is they do seem to decay pretty quickly. And then another option, if you're wanting something for free, is you can just use rock from your own land. I know some places probably don't have as many rocks as we do, but that does work. You do have to keep in mind though that the rocks will sink into the ground over time, so it can take a little bit of maintenance to keep, pulling them out and putting more native soil underneath them or more rock on top or something like that. But those are two options that are free or really, really cheap. And here's an example of some rocks being used here on this little bit of garden bed. Another good option, once again, if you are in an area with sawmills, is you might be able to get some rough cut wood from them for cheaper than normal lumber. And we didn't do it in our front garden here, but you can actually burn that rough cut wood and that'll hopefully increase its lifetime when it's in direct contact with soil. So here's one right here, here, and over there. Those are all garden beds made from rough cut oak. And if you can't do any of those options, you can just do beds like this. They don't have to be this high or anything. But you can get, we would recommend probably at least 2x6s, so 6 inches off the ground, or 6 inches high with the garden bed. And that would just be pine, from a hardware store. If you do that, we would recommend burning the outside of it and the inside too. We've burned it in here as well, because that'll help it once again last longer, because the pine is not particularly rot resistant. Now, I know this wouldn't be a cheaper garden bed as far as starting out goes, but if you had the funds to invest in a metal garden bed, that may be worth it for you because it would hopefully last for a really long time. But I wouldn't recommend getting one that's as tall as this one here, because when they're further off the ground like that, the soil tends to dry out faster. So we would recommend having a bed that's lower down, so even though your soil is raised up in the garden bed a little bit, it's closer to the native soil, which helps keep it moist for longer. That being said though, if you have some sort of a handicap, it may still be worth it for you to have a higher bed if it's hard for you to bend over, and probably just be good to set up some sort of a good irrigation system. And if you would like to get a metal garden bed, we do have an affiliate link with Vajiga, and we found their garden beds to work quite well. So if you purchase through our link, it does help support us and doesn't cost you anything extra. But that's only if you're wanting to.
Girls, hanging out in the tree?
Yeah.
You want to harvest some redbud blossoms? Can dry them for tea?
If I get you some?
Caroline was also wondering if we had any advice on container gardening. And while we haven't done a whole lot of container gardening, we can tell you that plants in containers do need watered more frequently. And you're gonna also wanna make sure to add some sort of a fertilizer at least once a year. You can do like a compost for solid fertilizer, and you might even wanna do a liquid fertilizer. We've used comfrey tea before. And something else you may wanna do is add some mulch to your containers, because that will help keep them from drying out so quickly. Wood chips is one option you can use, but one we've been really liking recently is leaves that we've run through our mower to help break them down a bit. That's been working really well. Hopefully that's helpful in regards to the container gardening. Caroline also asked about gardening materials. What are some must-haves, things that are good to have, and also things that are unnecessary? And really, we try not to have that many things that are unnecessary, but some good things that we do recommend would be a good watering pitcher that's a bit bigger and doesn't have a whole bunch of components like screw on or pop off. Maybe like a shower head that pops on and off would be fine, but if you have too many of those little connections and joints, they seem to leak and will pop apart sometimes, which is not very nice. And then a larger size allows you to carry more water if you're comfortable with that. We would also recommend Bootstrap Farmer seed starting supplies because they're really high quality. And we would also recommend, like the seed labels, getting like hard plastic ones, because the little flimsy ones break super easily. And if you use popsicle sticks, those don't do so well with direct soil contact, and because of the moisture differences when you water and when it dries out, it can wash out labeling, which is not particularly nice. So the hard plastic ones definitely do quite a bit better. And we would also recommend square tomato cages that fold up. We got some that are pretty nice and pretty good quality, which I'll actually show you here real quick. Alright, so here are the square tomato cages I was telling you about. These here, and they actually fold up. Right now they're just in the ground, so I can't show you that. And then these are like the normal ones here. So we have found these ones to be really nice and they hold up really well, and then because they can fold up, it's just a little bit more convenient.
And I have a couple more must-haves to share real quick. One is these Falco number 8 pruners. They are my favorite. They fit my hand really well. They're so high quality and last for a very long time. You can even sharpen them, so they keep on going for years and years. And just a good little trowel. This one is probably a pretty cheap one. We've gone through so many of them. I think Felco is a good brand for that as well. But just any good little trowel like this is used so much for pulling weeds, for digging holes to put transplants into, and all the other things for gardening. And one last thing, these are not a must-have. They're definitely a nice-to-have though. They're these totes that come in various sizes, and we've been using them over the last couple years. They've been so handy for harvesting, for putting weeds in, for cutting mulch into. Right now we're drying some eggshells and we're gonna grind those up to use for fertilizing our tomatoes. They're just super handy to have. And you can purchase the totes through Berlin Seed Company. Also, they're available at Azure Standard, but you don't get to pick the colors when you order them from Azure Standard. So it's been fun to get some colors that we like at Berlin Seed Company. So we'll try and leave some links down below to some of these items in case you want to check that out. A lot of these things are available just at Amazon, so it makes it pretty easy.
And we also got asked about some companies we recommend getting seeds from. And for that, I will say we do generally try to get our seeds locally. So for us, some local places would be Baker Creek Seeds or Rare Seeds, So Right Seeds, and Morgan County Seeds. And there's also a seed company based in Ohio, which is Berlin Seeds. Those are some places we recommend getting seeds from. I just said seeds a lot of times. You having fun up here?
Yeah.
Yeah? How about you, Abby? You having fun?
Yep.
Cool. Well, that's about all we have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video and it was a blessing to you. And as always, thank you to our patrons that make these videos possible. We pray blessings over you and yours. And whatever you do it with your whole heart.
Horticulture, I can't say this. Hold it.
We have a blooper.
Horticulture. You say it, Caleb.
I'm not even sure what you're trying to say.
Here we go! Make a good life, make a good